to answer Grace's question about short form and long form, I think short form is very important. Otherwise, the Zionist lobby, headed by Netanyahu, would not push for TikTok to be bought by the Ellison,
Yeah.
billionaire, because then they can control what message and what news it disseminates amongst the youth. Now, do you want to have a discussion about the short form lessen the IQ or the intelligence of its viewers is a different discussion. We can have that. Obviously, having books and reading books is very important. So that's a different discussion. But the importance of it, there's no doubt. Obviously, otherwise, 3, 4 individuals, billionaires, wouldn't be owning Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and 2, 3 others, which are used by most of the Western world, other than China, that has its own thing. And going back to filmmakers who were blacklisted, I remember seeing the speech by Vanessa Redgrave in 1978 when she raised the issue of Zionist hoodlums. Back then, this is almost 50 years ago. She's discussing that. She's trying to advocate for Palestinian rights, and she's been attacked by the Zionists in Hollywood and outside of Hollywood. The lobbyists. And since then, as you said, Oliver Stone. There was also I found another name that was interesting, that from the filmmakers, that Orson Welles. He was. This is back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and FBI had files on him. These are names that we know. There's obviously many other filmmakers from the 50s, where I think it was the McCarthy era, where they were rounding up anyone who didn't follow that idea of we need to create enemy, and it has to be Soviet, the communist Soviets, and anyone who has any empathy with ideas that they have, which it could be valid, like providing social services and having unions, and unions should be able to strike against bad working conditions and so forth. Oh, they're communist, you can't have that, whatever. So I think that this battle has always gone on, but I think that the deep state has always had the upper hand in the United States with the filmmakers. And one of its ways of doing it is blatant, with people like the filmmaker of Transformers, or the filmmakers that make Top Gun, which is just blatant, propaganda for the military. And then you have the ones which are a little bit more smart and sophisticated, but obviously we pick it up really easily. Or people like Kathleen Bigelow and other filmmakers, where, like, or for example, yeah, when what's his name, Ben Affleck made Argo, or other filmmakers, where there's kind of like, there's a bit of attention and they're showing something negative, but underneath, the actual message that is trying to be driven home is the message that the deep state wants. And I believe that the deep state goes far beyond what even Donald Trump represents at the moment, and him saying that he's trying to counter the deep state. I think he's part of the whole deep state process of making people think that there is a opposition to the Democrats. So I just wanted to add those two things. Sorry, I'll give it back to Grace.